Finally revealed. Princess Leonor walks down the aisle. Christian's reaction breaks hearts. A royal silence. A cathedral trembling with emotion. Then, she appears. Princess Leonor, radiant. Prince Christian, frozen. The world expects a smile. Instead, tears. Why did a prince cry when his bride walked toward him? And what secret moment made millions break down too? It was the moment the world had waited for. The doors of the royal cathedral in Copenhagen opened slowly, golden light spilling across the marble floor. Spain, Denmark, the entire globe watching in breathless silence. And then, Princess Leonor stepped forward. No cameras could truly capture what that moment meant. Not just for the young couple, but for two nations, two families, and for Leonor herself. For years, she had been seen as a future queen, duty-bound, disciplined, graceful. But this was her becoming a woman. A wife. A sovereign stepping into her destiny, not with command, but with love. Her gown shimmered softly, a tribute to both her Spanish heritage and Danish simplicity. Crafted by a team of Spanish artisans under the supervision of Queen Letizia, the silk was embroidered with delicate motifs symbolizing unity, olive branches for Spain, Nordic stars for Denmark. A quiet message stitched into every thread: this marriage wasn't just between two hearts, it was between two histories. As Leonor approached the altar, the camera caught Christian's expression. And that's when it happened. A tremor of emotion crossed his face, his lips trembled, his eyes glistened. A tear slipped down his cheek. Not out of sadness, but out of awe, out of gratitude, out of love so real, it disarmed every sense of royal restraint. And for a moment, the entire world cried with him. But this wasn't just a romantic gesture, it was the culmination of a story that began long before the cathedral bells rang that day. Let's rewind. The background. Two paths converge. Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark had been distant figures in the European royal landscape, young heirs navigating the pressures of tradition and expectation. They had met several times at royal events, but their connection deepened quietly, away from headlines. It began with shared responsibility. Both were raised under the weight of crowns. Both knew the loneliness of palaces and the eyes of millions. But beyond duty, there was understanding, a rare kind that can only exist between two people born into destiny. Friends say their bond grew over letters and quiet meetings in Madrid and Copenhagen. While cameras chased them at galas and diplomatic dinners, their real connection was built in private, through empathy, not spectacle. Queen Letizia reportedly saw it first. They mirror each other, she once told a confidant. And Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, Christian's mother, is said to have smiled knowingly, remarking, "He's found someone who understands him." But not everyone approved. Royal insiders whispered about tradition, lineage, and the risk of blending two powerful monarchies. There were concerns from advisors: what would this union mean for succession, diplomacy, or public perception? Still, Leonor and Christian stood firm. Love, they decided, would be their legacy, not politics. The proposal. A hidden moment revealed. Months before the wedding, there had been speculation of a secret engagement. But few knew how it truly happened. It wasn't during a state visit or a royal ball. It was quiet, private, human. During a late evening walk through the gardens of Zarzuela Palace, Christian handed Leonor a small velvet box. Inside was a ring designed with sapphire and diamond, stones that once belonged to his grandmother, Queen Margrethe. Leonor's answer wasn't verbal. She simply placed her hand on his heart and nodded. That gesture, the quiet acceptance, became symbolic of their relationship, tender, dignified, and real. The wedding day, a global moment. As the ceremony began, choirs sang hymns in both Spanish and Danish, a blend of two cultures echoing through vaulted ceilings. World leaders, royals, and dignitaries watched in reverence. But it wasn't the grandeur that captured hearts. It was their gaze. Leonor's walk down the aisle lasted just under 2 minutes. But for those 2 minutes, time seemed to stop. She wasn't walking toward a crown. She was walking toward the person who saw her beyond it. Christian's reaction became the emotional centerpiece of the entire ceremony. For years, he had been trained to maintain composure, to embody the stoic grace of monarchy. But in that instant, he became every man in love. Vulnerable, overwhelmed, And when he whispered, "You're breathtaking," microphones barely caught it, but the world heard it anyway. Family reactions, a royal intersection of emotion. Queen Letizia wiped away a tear, her eyes reflecting a mix of pride and nostalgia. King Felipe stood tall beside her, every inch the monarch, but even he couldn't suppress the faint tremble in his jaw. Across the aisle, Crown Prince Frederick and Princess Mary exchanged glances that spoke volumes. Their son was no longer a boy. He was a man, ready to lead, ready to love. And then there was Queen Margrethe, retired, regal, smiling through tears. To see her grandson marry not just a princess, but a future queen, was the kind of poetic symmetry royal history rarely grants. The vows, a promise heard around the world. Their vows, written by hand and spoken softly, were perhaps the most moving part of the day. Leonor's voice was steady. "I promise to walk beside you, not ahead, not behind. To reign not over, but with you. To love with freedom, to serve with grace." Christian's reply was trembling, barely above a whisper. "You've taught me that crowns mean nothing without courage, and duty means little without love. You are my home, wherever we are." The congregation erupted in applause, breaking centuries of royal protocol. The aftermath, a love that redefined royalty. Within hours, their vows trended across every social platform. Clips of Christian's tear, of Leonor's smile, of their clasped hands became symbols of something rare, genuine emotion within ancient institutions. Commentators called it the most human royal wedding in modern history. Others said it marked the dawn of a new generation, one where monarchy meets authenticity. In Spain, thousands gathered outside the royal palace in Madrid, waving flags and singing. In Denmark, church bells rang in every city, echoing joy across the North Sea. It wasn't just a union of titles, it was the fusion of two nations' hopes. Private moments the cameras missed. After the ceremony, a few intimate moments leaked through palace sources. Leonor, in a quiet corridor, reportedly told her mother, "It feels like breathing for the first time." And Christian, while greeting guests, whispered to his father, "I can't believe she's mine." Those small, unscripted sentences, more than the pomp, more than the pageantry, cemented the day's emotional truth. As night fell, the royal couple shared their first dance beneath a canopy of golden lights in Amalienburg Palace. The melody was simple, a Spanish guitar piece blended with soft Nordic strings. Every step they took told a story of unity, faith, and love that transcends borders. When Christian lifted her hand and spun her gently, Leonor laughed, a sound that, as one royal commentator noted, felt like history exhaling. And as fireworks lit up the Copenhagen sky, one could almost hear a collective realization. This wasn't just another royal wedding. It was a renewal of what love and leadership can be. So when the world replays that moment, Princess Leonor walking down the aisle, Prince Christian fighting tears, it isn't just about a dress or a crown. It's about a story centuries in the making. Two hearts, two thrones, and one love powerful enough to remind even the most cynical world that sometimes fairy tales are real. And in that cathedral, under the golden light of destiny, they didn't just marry each other. They united two worlds. Forever.